Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the channel. This is Henry. I got Chris with me right there. And today we're located at the beautiful, beautiful Rice Lake. It's very, very urban. Chris and I actually just live on the other side of this area here. Lind Creek is just on the other side of this thing. And this is actually the closest diving site to me. Because we literally live, I think Chris lives less than a kilometer that way. But we can't get here in 30 seconds because there's no road between here and there. We actually have to drive all the way downhill to to the bottom of the mountain and then come up around. Today's Earth Day, and we are fortunate to have Metro Vancouver always invite us to come and dive here on Earth Day every year to do a little cleanup. Oh, the mozzies are out. And so we're going to see what we can find. Usually, so this is a no swimming, no boating lake. So usually what I find down here, right along the edge, is fishing garbage. So fishermen will lose their tools, or maybe somebody will throw in a beer can or two. And sometimes parents will bring their kids out fishing. The little kids will lose their little rods and stuff like that. So that's what I'll find. And then out on the water here, if it does freeze, we'll get winter activity-based trash. So, for example, people lose their hockey pucks and lose their lawn chairs and hockey nets and so on when the ice gets too thin and they can't recover things, so it just sinks and then it's out there. So we found things like related to hockey activity in there before. So anyway, it's fun to be out here on a beautiful, beautiful day. I already see some trash floating in the water, so we'll get that. And yeah, we'll see you guys after the dive and see what we can find. It's so beautiful out here.
Well, I've been diving this area for about, I think, 12 years now, and pretty much every year I always find things. So I was pretty comfortable I was going to find something. I just didn't know what I was going to find. It's a very, very shallow dive. I think the deepest part that I go to in this area right by the docks like 17 feet. And sometimes if it rains a lot, the water will be higher by maybe a couple of feet. If it's a really dry season, water will be a couple of feet shallower, but always a very, very shallow dive, comparatively speaking to some of my other lake dives. So right away I found that camping chair. I kind of moved it upslope a little bit because I'm so familiar with this area that I know the depth in the area that I'll exit the dive. So I just kind of moved it up so I didn't have to come find it later on. So immediately I was kind of finding some random little things like sunglasses, one knife. I hate finding knives, like exposed knives, because I just know I'm going to poke myself with it. So there's a vape, another pair of sunglasses, whatever this little wire contraption is. And I was starting to find some glow sticks. I know that glow sticks, if I put them in the onion bag, I tend to lose them because they'll just go right through the hole. So I decided to just shove it into my dive computer wrist strap, and hopefully that'll stay put. Finding a lot of these little rubber fish things. I didn't know what they were, so I ended up asking somebody, and as they turned out, they're kind of casting lure practice things for children, so kids can practice with them. Anyway, as I was coming along here, ran into Chris. He was right next to me, and here's me signaling, "Come on, man, get away from me! This wasn't the dive plan. You're not supposed to be here. You're supposed to be further over." So anyway, there's one of those fishing lure things. they're actually quite floaty underwater. So found a $2 coin. Yay, $2 towards gas money. Awesome. I don't really have a way to store tiny little items that I don't want to lose, so that went into the storage spot for my line cutter that goes onto my computer wrist strap. And a couple of beer cans. I always know people just sit on the dock and they finish their beer and they just throw them into the lake, which is super unfortunate. There's one of those little children fishing rod that I talked about, and kids tend to lose those. I do get tangled up with fishing line a lot here. As you can see here, I got my line cutter out, and a lot of times things are snagged, and I'll have to just kind of, because I can't really see the fishing line underwater. That's sort of the point. You can see me with my motion there. That particular boss cutter was actually wrapped up in fishing line, so I had to cut the line and just basically move on, abandon the fish line because I can't see it very well, and they're super tangly basically. A lot of times I'll exit the water and I'll just pull like a whole bunch of fishing line with me because it's all wrapped up in my legs and my dry suit area or whatever. So more of these glow sticks, and yeah, shove those into my wrist strap from my computer just so I don't lose them. And this particular line here, what I didn't realize is that Chris had found an anchor, and he didn't realize that he was pulling his whole line behind him, so he brought the anchor up, but the whole line was actually stuck, so I had to go back. So I was pulling on this thing, I didn't know what it was, and I pulled it all the way up to the surface. So Chris is actually on the other end, he's telling me, no, I got the anchor, but then as he was pulling out, the line actually got wrapped up in wood and debris, so I had to go all the way back down and actually untangle it from the wood debris. And luckily it was actually right by the camping chair that I stowed earlier. You can see there's like a lot of this anchor line. As it turned out, we actually discovered this anchor actually belonged to Crosby Marine, and they lost it probably 20 years ago filming X-Files. They used to film a lot of X-Files in this lake. This is probably like the third item we found that belonged to X-Files filming, so that was kind of cool. And that was the dive.
Well, that was a super fun dive. We got way more than expected. Let me show you what we got. So it's 45 pounds of trash. There's the overview. Starting from this side here, got some sunnies. As soon as I got in the water, I found this camping chair. Chris found his anchor way out there. It was a heck of a find.
It was.
And then we got just random bits of things. I guess somebody rage quit knitting and threw their knitting needles into the water. I don't think you're supposed to be fishing with glow sticks at night. Those are in the water. These are all just random fishing people tools for working with fish and lines. A few beer cans, and Metro Vancouver sign. That's the other camping chair that I found at the other end of the dock. There are a whole bunch of lures. Of course, the one hockey puck, because when that lake gets frozen, we do find those in there. Got all these roll jars. People just huck them into the water. Broken pieces of rods and so on. The reels, a few nets, and then one phone. So that's pretty cool. 45 pounds of trash. Nice to have Chris's first time diving here. Super fun. And yeah, thank you to my Patreon supporters. Thank you for Pacific Pilsner for sponsoring the dive, and Lime Bike Share for helping out with dive logistics. And thanks, guys. Happy Earth Day to everybody. We'll see you guys in the next one.